Kong cinema of the 70s to the 80s and the 90s was so important to my own development as a human, as an artist, as an image maker. But at the same time, I'm also very curious, where does this tradition go? How will this great tradition develop into the future? Obviously, it begins only when night falls. I always associate with night, with the darkness of night, and perhaps the romance of the night. And a charade is a game that we play amongst friends and families in the warmth of a home. This notion of playing out these scenes in silence as a game that I offer to the people of Hong Kong kind of, I would say, inspired the title and the concept of this work. When I was asked to do this commission in Hong Kong on this very beautiful large screen, the only thing I can think about is Hong Kong cinema. Hong Kong cinema is something that I grew up with. It's almost like the air that I breathe. My mother is a Cantonese speaker, so I grew up in a family that watches Hong Kong television series. We grew up watching Hong Kong cinema. So I would say it's very much part of the fabric of my life growing up. It's even at the root of my desire to try to make images, moving images myself. The history of Hong Kong cinema, which is so important to me. So I wanted to make a work related to this great history and great tradition. The idea is to replay some of the most iconic scenes that have been etched so strongly in my memory back into the city that has dreamt up all these wonderful images. Actually, every image maker works with found image in some sense because we belong to a history, we belong to a shared tradition. What interests me is not just the fact that these materials are found and a kind of ready-made, but it is also our shared common memories, emotions and associations around these images. I always thought that I would inevitably have to engage with AI. I just didn't expect it to be this soon. Night charades plunged me into the black hole of AI. The actual amount of materials that we have is far more than 14 minutes. In a 14-minute loop, the algorithm is picking from this big pool of materials and assembling them on the screen in real time. So it's a way to keep the work always fresh and always changing. All we have is just multiple variations and options. I decided to dress them in a very specific way, which is clothing with very intense pleats, as well as a lot of folds, as a way to make all these characters uniforms. AI, which fascinates me a lot, is that it can produce the movement of cloth in air in a very beautiful way. AI is a tool that in some ways it makes the process of making images a collaboration. There were still many human collaborators involved, and the process is also, I would say, relatively long and painstaking. What attracts me a lot to working with AI at the moment is exactly this slight uncontrollability and unpredictability. I guess we can imagine now that the AI itself is playing a charade with us, with the audience. I imagine this in some ways as a kind of ritual, that these characters from Night Charades are nightly performing these rituals that are being retransmitted to the city that has first dreamt up the source of these images. The screen is, for me, is so large that the light that is emanated from this screen is something that is transmitted to the city. For sure, this is the largest screen that I've ever used.
We often describe the great cinema of Hong Kong from the 80s and the 90s as the golden age of Hong Kong cinema. Those were a great moment, which I share much memories and joys of. It's like the peak was something situated in the past. It's something undeniable, but at the same time, I'm someone who believes the best is yet to come.
I'm also very curious, where does this tradition go? How will this great tradition develop into the future?
I hope this work, while paying homage to the past, does its little small bit in trying to give us a bit of dreams about what our future can bring to us.